Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to another StarCraft video. Now, what I got for you today is a really exciting match, a best of 3 series between two players that are at the tippity top when it comes to skill level in SC2 right now. And I'm especially excited because of the Terran player spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of Port Alexander in game number 1 and already sending out an SCV to what seems to be not quite the other side of the map, but maybe just to like build a barracks in a bit of an unorthodox position. But anyways, this man, while he has won every single premier tournament over in South Korea in 2018, he does not participate in a lot of online events. And while I do reference him from time to time, right? I do talk about this man every once in a while. I sadly don't get to cast a lot of his replays just because there's not a lot of them to cast. A lot of the Korean events, for those of you unfamiliar, do not release their replay packs, and it just makes it really difficult to get your hands on these games. So I'm excited to see what he has in store for us. But spawning here in the bottom right hand corner in game number 1 and playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we are currently looking inside of the main base of Maru. And Maru, doing Maru things, he's very well known for proxying the barracks. Already, his opponent is looking around the map trying to figure out if that barracks is going up any closer to that Protoss natural than he wants it to be. But no, it's just simply going down in a bit of an unorthodox position. The Reaper should still arrive at a relatively normal time, but his opponent, he's arguably speaking the strongest Protoss player on the planet, one of the most accomplished Protosses of all time. We have none other than Stats. This truly is, and I know I say this quite a bit about a lot of pro gamers, but this truly is a match between two titans. Like, both of these are likely the strongest in their race right now, which is really exciting. I haven't really seen Maru play actually at all in the new multiplayer balance patch. It's been out for a couple of weeks right now. Judging by the timing of his second gas, I'm gonna make the assumption that he is gonna be going for a relatively quick cyclone here still. That is one of the things that a lot of Terran players have been doing recently. This does of course mean though that his command center is gonna be a little bit late. Reaper will be able to make its way across the map right now. Stats, of course, judging by the timing right here of that Reaper, he will know that it indeed is not going to be a proxy barracks, but still, Maru just simply building it in an unorthodox location. Even though Stats didn't like scout this time around, it doesn't really hurt him in any way. I mean, he loses a little bit of mining time, I suppose, with the SCV that has to like walk over here. But if Stats were to probe scout, this would likely force an overreaction, right? In this case, it works out in Stats' favor, but there's definitely a lot of room for a Protoss player to mess up here at this point in the game. Now, that's a little bit awkward right there. The Reaper just barely did not see that Adept. That does mean that the Adept is going to be able to make its way across the map. And obviously with now that Tech Lab requirement, right? You're not going to be able to get the Cyclone out in time to deal with the very first Adept. And that will mean that the command center is going to be delayed for just a little bit. And this is the kind of thing that really adds up at this skill level, right? I mean, we saw a little bit of mining time lost, obviously, on that barracks building SCV. Right now, the command center is going to be delayed by like a 10 seconds here as well. That all adds up very, very quickly. And Stats, he has not been messed with here whatsoever. He did decide to go for the Stargate, so Oracle first here for our Protoss player. The Oracle, of course, very helpful in a lot of early game shenanigans. Not only can you use it to harass your opponent, but you can also use it defensively to try and get rid of any kind of early game pressure. And there we go. Stats is gonna activate the little beam. A pity throw right there to try and, I guess, damage the Adept shields just a little bit. But the Reaper will be denied, and with that, Maru is gonna be in the dark. Now, the Cyclones are out. There's 2 of them even. Did he get the upgrade as well? Okay, yeah, the upgrade is actually still researching right now. So the upgrade, it will basically improve the lock-on ability of the Cyclone. So the way that the Cyclone works, it can lock onto a target at 5 range, which really is not that far. But then once it is locked on, it can continue dealing damage until the unit is quite far away. So it's a really interesting unit right now. It's not quite as tanky as it once was, and obviously the missile doesn't fire nearly as quickly as it once did. But it's really good at sniping specific targets. And that's really where I feel like the Cyclone shines right now. But for the time being though, it looks like we have a relatively safe approach. Stats did decide to go for that hit squad of air units, which I really, really like. You can use this obviously to lift up the high value targets, and it's going to be helpful later on into the game as well, when, for example, Terran decides to go for siege tanks. Apparently, Stats is expecting his opponent to maybe go for some sort of aggressive drop play, or maybe like a Liberator or two. Doesn't look like that is going to be the case here for Maru. But Stats, though, already feeling confident. He's got his third Nexus about halfway done at the 5-minute mark. This is not the kind of build that I would recommend playing on the ladder. Seems like a little bit of a risk. The Adepts right now, though, will confirm the exact location of that Terran army. And here we go. The Cyclones are going to try and see if they can find their lock-on. Obviously, though, there's a lot of Adepts remaining. And that does mean, right, with the lift-ups right here on those Widow Mines, it's going to be difficult for the Terran player to really get the engagement that they were looking for. A Cyclone, though, is also going to be joining the party here, but obviously the Phoenixes will be able to make short work of that. Still, the Widow Mines will be picked up before they really get a lot of damage in, and it will be shut down. Stats is going to be able to deflect this first bit of aggression, and that's a really nice little bit of aggression once more. Look at that pickup, though. Really well done here by Stats. He basically is making the Phoenixes tank 1 Widow Mine each. And while we did see a couple of them go down, so that's 2 Adepts there, or 9 Adepts rather, and 2 Phoenixes, that is most definitely a trait that Stats is happy to take at this point. Now, 1 hero SCV scouting around. It's gonna sacrifice its life here for the Terran Dominion. But at this point, obviously, there's no denying that Stats, right? He's been building up that economy, and because he now has that superior income, he's gonna be able to start constructing a lot of Protoss units as well. Double Forge being taken here. We saw the immediate throwdown right here of the Twilight Council as well after the engagement got shut down. And that means that Stats, rather than trying to overextend after obtaining that little advantage, he's gonna instead sit back, force his opponent to once again come at him while building up a lot of those upgrades. I really, really like this approach. Robotics facility right now coming down as well, and you can see a lot of additional gateways now being produced here too. He could decide to focus on more Adepts, which I think is a perfectly fine situation for him right now. He could also decide to maybe switch around into, for example, some additional Stalkers to get rid of any kind of potential, like, you know, basically any Terran unit right now, but in particular Liberator play, and obviously to chase down those Medivacs here as well. Maru in a bit of an awkward position right now, though, right? He's going for the 3rd command center. Obviously, he does have mules, so he can indeed catch up in economy relatively easily, but there's no denying that Terran is going to be up with his back against the wall, plus Stats still does have those Phoenixes out. They're providing him all of the scouting information that he needs. He's got one of them patrolling right here to see if there's any incoming Medivacs, so he can warp in some units in time in case there is that drop, and you can really see, man, the skill level of Stats is ridiculous. Alright, so here we go. Some Zealots are coming up as well, so I'm expecting there is going to be that charge follow-up here after Blink finishes too. I don't think he's got that one just yet. He could even be going for the Glaive Adept here as well, although that's usually relatively uncommon at this point in the game. Usually you get that early, or you don't get it at all. But regardless, 1-1 is already finishing here, and Maru is only just now starting up his +1 armor upgrade for his infantry. He did finish up +1 infantry weapons, so that's nice, but he's definitely gonna be in a little bit of trouble here, especially once Stats finishes up 2-2. So it looks like that will not be happening though. Maru is gonna make a push to potentially close out the game right here. Look at the amount of army supply, right? Even though Stats has been mining a lot more, the army supply is heavily in favor right here of the Terran player. Once again though, excellent pickups right here on the Widow memes. They're gonna be shut down relatively easily, and actually a lot of those Zealots soaking up a lot of those hits as well. All of the Phoenixes were killed, but this is still a really strong gateway-based army, and right now, that blink control of Stats is gonna be absolutely ridiculous. He's gonna be able to micro backwards with a lot of those Stalkers with ease. You can see the Zealots that are soaking up a lot of the damage as well. They are the ones that get picked off, and then these Stalkers from the back are just able to shut down all of those Terran units. Man, Stats seems to be in control, right? There's like no worry here for him whatsoever. Playing really calm and collected. He's now got that War Prism here inside of the main base of his opponent as well, while the Stalkers are pushing towards the 3rd of Maru, while the Prism will be killed here. Blink is done, obviously, but Charge is still on the research here. There's no denying that Maru is up with his back against the wall. couple of those SCVs are trying to get the repair, but it does not matter. There's just simply so many Stalkers available here. Great micro by Stats in general. He does lose a couple of Stalkers here and there, but he's getting so much value out of the Stalkers that he does have. And Maru did end up losing that third command center. And right now, right, we are... Ooh, this is also kind of awkward, but we are in a really tough position for Terran. Stats has 4 bases. You gotta be careful that he does not produce too many workers here. But as long as he keeps on warping in and he gets a couple Immortals to deal with all of those Marauders, he should be in a phenomenal position. Still though, is there any detection here for the Protoss player? Does he even care at this point? Charge is done, by the way. The Zealots right now, they are gonna go to town inside of that mineral line, inside of the main base of Maru. The other SCVs are pulled here off the mineral line as well. Maru is making one last-ditch effort, but Stats, calm and collected, picks up the victory here in game number 1. So hey, I had a couple of people coming to my live stream saying that they're currently struggling in Protoss versus Terran. All you need to do, guys, is just play like Stats. You know, just stop making mistakes. Just play really, really well. I mean, you know, the counter to Widow Mines is clearly Phoenixes. You just have to lift them up before they can burrow. That's all you need to do. Just don't clump them up. I know they have the tendency to do that. Try and, you know, only take like 1 Widow Mine hit per Phoenix if you can. And then, you know, they will be able to survive and lift up another one of them a little while later on. Honestly, though, like, all kidding aside, that was a super clean game there by Stats. Looks like in game number 2, though, Maru is gonna do his trademark barracks. Is Stats gonna scout around once again? Man, this is a thing that players have been doing against Maru for a little while, where they are basically just so on top of his cheese. They will be able to figure out that there is something aggressive, and this just hurts so much. Maru is not going to be able to finish up that barracks. That means that he's going to be forced to start one up right now. But that obviously in turn is going to delay the factory. That's going to delay the starport. That's going to delay the... It basically delays everything. Orbital command as well. This is the kind of thing that really does hurt Terran players. Now, for those of you curious what happened at BlizzCon for Maru, basically, while Maru won everything over in Korea in 2018, he won like WESG as well. I think Maru must have earned like, I don't know, like $300,000-$400,000 or so in prize money in this year. Like it's a little ridiculous. Maybe I'm overestimating it, but he won like 200K at WESG and then like a whole bunch of GSL code S's. Anyways, whoa. So wait, the command, or rather the Nexus got blocked here by an engineering bay. It will be cancelled right now. Stats is forced to plant the natural Nexus at the 3rd instead. But anyways, over at BlizzCon, Maru ended up facing off against SOS. SOS, obviously, the 2-time winner of BlizzCon. He's the 2-time world champion. And while Maru tried to do like similar proxies against SOS, SOS just shut it down. Maru tried proxying him 3 games in a row, and SOS just shut it down, and then Maru got 3-0'd, which was kind of unexpected. I wonder if maybe there was like a little bit of pressure as well. I mean, everyone was expecting Maru to, you know, either place like very highly, if not win BlizzCon. So, you know, maybe there was like a little bit too much pressure on Maru as well. I think he's like 21, you know? It's not like... He's been around in SC2 for like 8 years at this point. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's literally been 8 years. In 2010, Maru was already part of the GSL Code S. But I think right now he's 21. And yeah, maybe there was just a little bit too much pressure on him, where a lot of people were expecting him to do extremely well. Ooh, this is cute. I like that. You can't lift it. Or you can't land it right now. Super annoying here. This is the kind of stuff that happens though, right? If you build your barracks on the other side of the map. And this kind of reminds me of SOS versus Maru at BlizzCon. This is the kind of stuff that really hurts a Terran player. Stats just simply playing to Maru's character right now, right? Like, Maru is just simply very well known for building those barracks on the other side of the map. And you can see right there, it all delays everything a little bit. Eventually though, the Adept was picked off there. Stats is gonna be forced to go back home right now, and well, I mean, he's gonna be in a really nice position. Even though his Nexus is built at the 3rd base, not quite where he would like it to be, he's gonna be able to just simply build a normal game right now. And obviously, this is the kind of stuff that you practice for, right? In many situations, you're going to be able to build the Nexus in its normal location, and while this is obviously forcing him to split up his units, and it's going to be harder to defend both sides of the spectrum, Stats is practiced against this kind of stuff. I don't think he's going to be all too bothered by it. And while it will be difficult to, for example, deal with Liberators if your units are on the other side of the map, he should be fine against this little bit of early game aggression. Look at the damage though, man. That Cyclone needs to be careful. If you lose the Cyclone at this point, you're in a lot of trouble if you're Maru. Love that lock-on though. So you can see, right, the lock-on is relatively close by, but then the Stalker has to move much further away in order to prevent the Cyclone from continuing its shots. It's pretty ridiculous. By the way, Stats has had a pretty insane year as well. He won a GSL versus the World, if not... no, not GSL versus the World. I think he won a GSL Super Tournament, if I'm not mistaken, but like, in his career in general... Ooh, that trap. In his career in general, he's had a significant amount of winnings. And that was beautiful there. Stats positioning those Stalkers at the Watchtower, forcing Maru to walk by there, and that does mean that the Cyclone gets picked up. And like, it's these little things that really do add up. Look at the supply count right now. Look at the worker count here as well. That supply is mostly just the worker difference, and that adds up super quickly. Now, I do like this decision here for Maru to go for the Banshee. He already has a siege tank at home as well, so that's going to prevent a lot of this early game pressure out of Stats to, you know, to really push forward. I mean, he does have Blink, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he does have Blink already done, so he could Blink up into the main and, like, Blink even forward and pick up the siege tank before it can really deal damage. But this Banshee, it is going to force a lot of those Stalkers to stay at home as well. Cloaking is done. There is an observer over here too, so Stats, man. Oh my god. Stats didn't see anything, by the way. I just want to emphasize that. Stats did not see anything. Perfect positioning there on those two Stalkers and that observer, shutting it down before it can even really happen. The second Banshee, though, it's going to move towards the, I guess, the third base of Stats, although it's technically a natural. There's another one right now making its way towards the actual normal expansion here for Stats. Now, Maru is going to force a lot of those units away. There is obviously Blink now refueled here as well on those Stalkers, but yeah, while there's 3 observers out, right, this should be totally fine here for Stats. He's not going to take critical amounts of damage. That Banshee is completely stuck, and it will be picked off. So the question is there enough damage dealt right now? The one Banshee does stay alive. Obviously, you got to take into account the cost of the cloaking upgrade as well. And in total, I think they killed like maybe 4 or so probes, which was mostly there to Stats making a small little error. I mean, losing a couple of probes there in the natural was not ideal. I guess this is technically his third now. Anyway, I'm just going to refer to it as his natural right now. I don't think that's really worth it, right? Maru, though, you can see his macro being 100% on point. I'm always really impressed when Terran players do this. He built the third command center. He's got a lot of production here. And supply-wise, even though he's going up against a player who's got less bases than him, he's still in a phenomenal position. That's obviously partly mules, but that's also due to the fact that Maru is producing out of his structures at all times with while not actually queuing up, which is really, really difficult to do. Really, really difficult to get that really, really solid production if you are the Terran player. That's ideally what you're looking for, though. It's a little bit of downtime every once in a while, but obviously, you know, that's because, believe it or not, Maru is actually human. I'm just kidding. That's not actually a thing. There we go. This Banshee will be picking up a couple more of those workers. Ooh, little bit of missed target firing right there, but I think that is going to be the end of this one right over there as well. Okay. So here we are. Pretty similar situation as to what we saw here in game number 1, although this time around Maru did go for the double upgrades. +2/+2 already coming up here as well for Stats. He once again did go for the double forge. But I think both players are actually looking to engage against each other right now, which is kind of cool. Obviously, Blink is available. So one of the medevacts get picked up for free, and Stats blinks away there. That one medevac actually really does hurt that Stimpak, right? That's going to hurt the amount of hit points he's got on those units for quite a while. And once again, beautiful blinks right here by our... Oh my... Did you see that split off as well by the Zealots? Sick move there, but great blinks once again here by Stats. He's going to charge forward, try and see if he can pick up some of those Widow memes before they can really deal the damage. And I guess this is going to force Maru to make the walk of shame, right? Observer here, indicating exactly where that Terran army is located. And it is going to be chased down right now by a bunch of Stalkers as well as a few Zealots. Man, his observer control is really sick. Like, it's so easy to use the all army hotkey when you're Protoss. And I think a lot of Protoss players are guilty of that. He's not using surveillance mode here, he's just using proper hotkeys. At the same time though, a couple of zealots are making their way towards the natural of Terran, and this hurts a lot. A lot of the reinforcing Terran units were sent across the map as well to join the main army here of the Terran player. And while eventually I think the Widow Mines will be picked up here as well, they are gonna slow down this zealot assault quite a bit. But this does now open up the opportunity here for Stats to make a bit of a move forward. Obviously, those Stalkers do outrange the Widow Mines, so they are going to be able to move forward here as well. The Siege Tank actually gets picked up too, and that means that Stats is once again smelling blood. He's moving forward with that Stalker Zealot-based army. His control, man, it's really good. He's not even, like, playing a special unit composition. Look at the Zealot coming in from the other flank as well, sandwiching that Terran army. His control on those Stalkers and Zealot is just extremely good. And like, while this is all going on, he's building up to that 4-base economy. Does he once again only? Yeah, he's only just now getting the 6 gases going, but he's really just focused on a Zealot Stalker based force. And this is the kind of thing that really does hurt Maru, right? It all comes down to Maru proxying that barracks on the other side of the map early on. That really slowed down and took the wind out of the sails out of Maru, right? Like, he was forced to delay his starport and his factory, and therefore the cyclone, and like everything just adds up really quickly. And Stats took a small little advantage, and now he's running away with the lead 10 minutes later. Still though, I don't know if there's enough Protoss here available to close out this game right now. Excellent force field trying to slow down those Terran units from setting up that surround. Still, that's a lot of Widow Mines. The SCVs are now pulled off the line as well to try and see if they can deal a little bit of damage. Great observer placement once again, picking up a couple of those Widow Mines for practically free. The Zealots in the back though, they're ready to engage. The question is, when is he gonna pull the trigger? And it looks like it may very well be right now. Still, he doesn't want to get all too overzealous. Once again, a big Zealot warp in. That's 10 Zealots being warped in at once. The Immortals trying to target fire down as many of those Marauders as they possibly can. The command center up in the air, very low in hit points. It will be picked off. Third base obviously was evacuated already, and Stats absolutely smashes Maru here in this best of 3 series. What a legend. What a legend. So the control, you know how some people make fun of like Protoss players using F2 A move, right? Where the F2 is the all army hotkey and A move is just attack moving across the map. Well, it may be the case at lower level SC2. Stats is, he's microing better than I've seen a lot of Protoss players do, man. Like, this was just solid, straightforward Protoss play. No gimmicks whatsoever. Just really well controlled. Going for the double upgrades. Playing solidly with the expansion timings. Not getting too over-eager with the actual fights, but just simply standing there, forcing his opponent to not actually mind that much and just, you know, super clean. Really well done there by Stats. I really like the way that he approached this match. I hope you did as well. If you are new to this YouTube channel, I upload StarCraft 2 videos pretty much every single day. My standard upload schedule is Monday through Saturday. Usually they go live at 10 p.m. CET. So if you're enjoying the content, I don't do just StarCraft, although lately it's been like 99% StarCraft, it feels like. I just really like this game anyway. But if you are new, do make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications as soon as future videos go live. And obviously a special shout out to the Patreon supporters for making all of this possible. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.